The big war between Israel and her enemies could begin as soon as July 1st. Let me read this to you guys. The level of tension in the Middle East is sky high right now, and it is about to go even higher. On Monday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he would move ahead with a plan to annex portions of the West Bank in the months ahead. The coalition agreement that he reached with Blue and White Chairman Benny Gantz allows him to submit annexation for a vote as early as July. And if Netanyahu is actually going to do this, it will most certainly happen before the US election in November. The Trump administration is prepared to support Israel's annexation under certain conditions, but a Biden administration, Joe Biden, would be 100% opposed to such a move. So Netanyahu realizes that this opportunity may never come again, and he is fully prepared to seize the moment. But of course, if Israel does not annex large portions of the West Bank, that could easily spark a huge regional war. Needless to say, the Palestinians and their allies will never, ever accept the annexation of any West Bank territory. But Netanyahu seems absolutely determined to move ahead with his plans. The following comes from Times Magazine. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday pledged to annex parts of the occupied West Bank in the coming months, vowing to move ahead with the explosive plan despite a growing chorus of condemnation by key allies. The Palestinians, with wide international backing, seek the entire West Bank as the heartland of a future independent state. Annexing large chunks of this territory would all but destroy the faint remaining hopes of a two-state solution. Haaretz is reporting that Netanyahu specifically stated the target date for beginning annexation is July 1st, and we do not intend to change it, he said. The Americans said recently that they're prepared for annexation within weeks. Under the coalition agreement between Likud and Kahal Lavan on July 1st, meaning in a month's time, Netanyahu will be able to bring the agreement reached with the United States on the issue of applying sovereignty to a debate in the Security Cabinet and the full Cabinet, and for the approval of the Cabinet and or the Knesset. On Monday, Netanyahu told a meeting of Likud Knesset's faction in response to an MK's question that the target date for beginning annexation is July 1, and we don't intend to change it. Wow. It looks like this is really going to happen, and Israeli settlers in the areas that are going to be annexed will greatly celebrate once it happens. But at the same time, we will see a massive outpouring of fury from the Palestinians and their allies. In the south, Hamas and Islamic Jihad are not strong enough to invade Israel, but they will almost certainly start firing rockets toward Israel in retaliation. In the north, Hezbollah has more than 150,000 missiles aimed at Israeli cities right now, and Hezbollah was on the brink of a new war with Israel even before talk of annexation became public. In the West Bank, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas has already voided all previous agreements with the United States and Israel because of this pending annexation, and he is warning that there will be grave consequences if it actually happens. Needless to say, most of Israel's Arab neighbors are opposed to any annexation as well, and Jordan's King Abdullah has even warned of a massive conflict if Israel does not back down. More than 2 weeks after Jordan's King Abdullah issued what can only be described as the sternest warning to Israel if it goes ahead with its annexation plans, Jordanians and Israelis are still wondering how Amman will react if Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu goes ahead with his intention to annex parts of the West Bank and the Jordan Valley as early as July. This is huge, guys. And as you can see again, Netanyahu wants to get this done now, before elections, because we know Biden is completely opposed to this. And he's given this target date of July 1st. And we're seeing the massive opposition from Jordan, from the Palestinians, Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian Authority, and many others, saying this is a huge mistake. Watch out, this is going to cause a massive conflict. So folks, between now and July 1st, as this annexation thing draws closer and it's being played out, watch for massive retaliation from the enemies of Israel. This is big stuff, guys. I believe that's what's coming. There's this coming war against Israel. We see it forming right now. And this Donald Trump's deal of the century peace plan and this annexation that's currently going on, I believe that's putting us on the brink right now of a major conflict against Israel. And I believe from this conflict, when the Antichrist comes onto the world stage after the rapture of the church, he's gonna make order out of chaos. He's gonna have all the answers. And I believe he's gonna either strengthen Trump's plan to make it acceptable by the many, or something else that's going to be brought out that's going to have modifications or changes to make it greater, to make it acceptable by the many. Whatever your thoughts are, folks, the bottom line is we see this war staring us in the face against Israel. And we know that the Daniel 9:27 covenant is coming, I believe, after this coming war. But we know the rapture of the church occurs before the Antichrist is even revealed and before he confirms the covenant with many for 1 week for the 7-year tribulation period.
This is our current reality.